brain reading this book? Just I was like, oh, love triangle. I just want to escape to Valaris. Nest is brilliant, isn't she? I just love her. I love her. Feyre. It's Feyre. Hello, welcome back to my channel. Let's do a January reading wrap up. Okay, but before we get started, I just need to show you my book wall. I'm so proud of it. Like, it is so pretty. And if you want to see how I did it, I've just posted a short on my YouTube channel for the tutorial of how I made it. So yeah, go check that one out. If you've been following along on Instagram, you will know that some of these books have become part of my personality. And I've been absolutely going a bit crazy for them. So grab a little beverage of your choice and let's get started. Okay, so the first book of the month was The Family Upstairs by Jewell, and I'd actually been bought this for my birthday back in August, and I kept putting it off, and I finally just thought it's time to get into Jewell because I kept seeing her everywhere and everybody hyping up her books, so I thought, let's just do it, let's just dive right in. That was my brain reading this book, just there was so much to unpack with this. I even had to write all of the characters on a little post-it note and do for all of the family members and how they link together because my brain was like scrambled. I was like, who is this? Who is that? How do they connect to them? What is going on? And going back between the timelines of like going back in time and then back to present day, I was like, what's going on? The good thing about it though was that it really hooked me in, and sometimes when there's too much going on I will just switch my brain off. I'll just be like, I've lost interest, I don't care anymore. But this had such a really good way of just reeling me in and wanting me to find out more information, and I wasn't sure that I would even be into something that was about a cult family. Like, I've never really shown that much interest in that, but after reading this, I was like, oh yeah, give me every single cult documentary, give me every cult book, I want to read it. And the perfect way that I could describe me whilst I was reading this book was, you know that scene in Always Sunny where Charlie is like, I mean, I don't even watch Always Sunny, but I always see that meme from Charlie and it just makes me laugh because that is me, and that was me reading this book. You know, where he's like pointing at the screen. I'll put it here now. That was totally me. What was really funny about this book as well was that I've been very vocal about the fact that I don't really like third person books, and it turns out this book is partly in third person, and my boyfriend had like checked it out to make sure that it was in first person and that I would definitely then read it. What was just so funny is that I got into it and, you know, I was loving it, and then I slowly slithered into the conversation. Oh, by the way, it is actually in third person in some bits. He was like, oh, typical. I mean, at that stage, he didn't really care, to be honest, because he just thought, oh, you're reading it, so that's a win. But no, I really enjoyed it. The thing is, I don't even think this is probably even that complicated to even grasp with the different families and things. I just didn't realise that there was going to be so many characters. And because I am a semi-new reader now, like, it's not even been a full year yet since I started reading, like, full time. I started back in May 2024, like, picking up a book and actually reading, like, several a month. Because before that, I had only got through like maybe one or half a book a year. So for me, this was quite different. And there were so many characters in it for me to wrap my head around. And it was a really good book. It was a really good read. And like I say, if it didn't have that sort of gripping, twisty plot turns and things to keep me invested, I think I would have just said, no, like I can't do it. It's not for me. I'm going to put in a little photo of me the second I finished this book. That's what it did to me at the end. I was just brain fried. 4 stars for The Family Upstairs. And of course, the second book of the month had to be The Family Remains, the sequel to The Family Upstairs by Jewell. And again, this one was just as gripping as the first one. I feel like I may have enjoyed this one a little bit more. I also gave this one 4 stars, and yeah, just again, still so invested in the storylines of all of the characters in it. And again, I had to write it down on a post-it note just so that I could remember what was happening and who was doing what. And both of these books I read over like 3 to 4 days, I think it was. So I definitely wanted to, you know, read them as the information was being fed to me through the book. I think if I'd have like read a chapter a night, and I've spoken about this before, I think that's why I've got more into reading, because if I read only like a little bit of the book, I'm losing interest. I need to know a good chunk and go to sleep thinking about a good chunk of the storyline. Almost like watching a movie. I need to watch a good chunk of the movie. If I'm only watching like little clips here and there, I've lost interest. I need a good fulfillment of pages that I've read. So with these books, even though they were like, these are the biggest sort of, are they the biggest actually? I think I read one before. They're around about 400 pages, so they're a bit more bigger than a Freida McFadden book that I'm used to reading. I had read that not a lot of people rated this one as high as the first one. However, I still loved it. I still think it deserved the same rating. To me, they're not 5-star books. A 4-star to me is an absolutely amazing book, and a 5-star is if it's like changed my life, made me cry, made me scream out loud, made me just do something involuntary. But yeah, 4 stars, amazing books. And the more and more thrillers that I read, the more I'm not just expecting a big plot twist. I'm more expecting now to actually enjoy throughout the whole book. And I think sometimes that's what I've sort of ruined for myself, of the expectations that I'm going to read a book and then go, oh my God, heartbeat moment, you know, and give me that whole like dramatic feeling. I just think now, as I'm educating myself more with reading, that I don't need that. I don't need that big shocking twist moment, you know, jaw on the floor. I just need a book that's going to keep me interested, and a book that's going to keep me guessing, and a book that is just enjoyable to read throughout the whole thing, really. So yeah, both of these tick them boxes. And like I said, I started my reading journey back in May last year. So I've been building up and building up. And I found that a lot of books, like if I've seen how chunky they are, or if I've seen how small the writing is inside, I've put it off and thought, there's no way in hell I'm reading that. Like, I've had to be really, really enticed to read certain books, and really just sort of go on the hype train sort of on TikTok and things to see if it's actually worth it, like actually worth my time putting into the book. And that's exactly what happened with the next series that I'm about to talk about, because I cannot tell you how many DMs I had once I started announcing that I was reading more and I wanted to try new genres and things. You guys have been hounding me to read this series, and oh my God, thank you very much. you guys were bang on the money. And of course, the series that I am talking about is the Acotar series. Okay, so let's talk about the first one, A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Now, everyone had already given me an idea of what to expect with this. I'd sort of been given the brief of Beauty and the Beast, and I was like, all right, I'm running with it. I like Beauty and the Beast, let's give it a go. Because I'll be honest, when I read the back, I was like, I don't know, do I care about fairies? Like, first of all, I had to Google the spelling of fairy, because obviously I'm that uneducated. I didn't know what a fairy was, you know, spelled like that. I was like, is that the same as a regular fairy? Is that the same as a Tinkerbell? Like, is it different? What is this? So obviously I Googled, and now I am well educated on the different types of fairies. I also had to Google the main character's name. At first I was pronouncing her name as like Feyre, which is, it's quite similar actually, because it's Feyre as I Googled, and I had to YouTube with someone saying it's Feyre. So Feyre, yeah, Fairy or Fairy, or Fairy, I think I was saying it like fairy, so Fairy, and I was like, why would an author do it the same as like fairies and fairy? Feyre, it's Feyre. Anyway, once I got past how to pronounce the first character's name, I was really interested in it. I was like, okay, where are we going with this? What is the similarities between the Beauty and the Beast? And it was very similar, very, very similar. The only other fantasy novel that I've read is the Powerless series, and I did struggle to get into that world. So I was thinking that I would again struggle to get into this one. I did struggle a little bit. I found that trying to imagine things just was not working in my brain. I had to Google a lot of like the fan art and stuff without trying to spoil it for myself. I definitely think the map at the beginning of the book helped me as well. And I tell you what, it was one of them books that I was just reading and not particularly invested all at the beginning. I was liking the fact that it was very similar to Beauty and the Beast, and it was just a slow burn for me, and it was like a slow obsession starting. And it did surprise me, because I honestly was thinking that I was going to end up DNF in this book, because I'd seen that there was like two different types of people of, you know, it was either you read the first book and then you become obsessed and then you like carry on with the Sarah J Maas universe, or you're the other type of person who reads it and is like, nah, that wasn't for me, that was too boring, it was too much world building, didn't enjoy the fantasy, wasn't for them. So I didn't know which one I was going to be until now. But I definitely enjoyed it more than I thought I would. Particularly more towards the end, I was sort of a bit like, because there is a bit of a twist in it, I'm really trying not to spoil anything, but there was a twist in the storyline that I wasn't expecting. And I was like, oh right, okay, this is where we're going with this. So yeah, I really wasn't expecting to enjoy this book as much as I did. And I think as well, because the expectations that people had sort of given me of just make your way through this book because the rest of the series is golden. And I was honestly thinking, okay, I'm gonna have to really endure this book to get to the good bits. I actually felt like this book was really good in itself, and I can say that now with reading the next ones, which we're about to talk about. But yeah, I think as well, because this one was the shortest one, apart from the novella of course, but this was, I think, just the right size and just the right sort of enticement to get you into the series. So yeah, really enjoyed it. 4 stars for the first of the series. So now let's talk about A Court of Mist and Fury. I gotta tell you, I was so excited with the beginning of this book. I was like kind of giggly, kicking my feet, because I was like, oh, love triangle. And I said to Daria, I was like, oh, just wait, it is going to be a Twilight moment. It's gonna be like Bella choosing between Edward and Jacob, and I can't wait. Ah! Of course, he just looks at me like... But yeah, this one I had thoroughly enjoyed. I did, however, find it difficult with the extra characters that were all added in all of a sudden. Obviously when we go to sort of like the Night Court and you're learning about that, I'm really going to pronounce this wrong. I am so sorry. This is something that I didn't Google. But the Illians? Illians? Is that how you say it? That's how I've been saying it in my head. I don't know. Oh, I totally should have Googled that, because I feel like I've just butchered that up now, but it was the same with pronouncing Amarantha? How do you say it? Oh, where is it? Amarantha. Yeah, Amarantha, right? Because in my mind I was just going Amma each time, like I couldn't be asked pronouncing the whole thing in my brain, so I was just like, Amma? What's Amma doing now? Anyway, back to the point. When they were introducing like the Bat Boys with Cassian and Azriel, I was like, okay, right, let's go. This is serious business now. Like, let's get to know these characters. I knew that Cassian was going to be quite a big character. I'd heard loads of people saying to me when I was swooning over Reese, telling me, oh, just you wait until Cassian. I was like, okay, I need to get in, I need to get knowing. But anyway, yeah, it just took me a little while to just brain activate into where are we mode and things, but I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I found the romance in this one was so wonderful. This to me was just a blossom in a book. It was wonderful, and yeah, oh my god, favourite darling. one more crack at pronouncing it. Illyrian? Ilrian? Ilrian? How do you pronounce it? I can't wait for the TV series or movie or whatever the hell they're doing, because then I'll just be like, oh yeah, that's how you say it. Anyway, 4 stars for the second book of the series. And then on to the third one, which is A Court of Wings and Ruin. And just straight to the point, I gave this another 4 stars. I, again, love this one. I love all the series. However, this one, I felt like there was so much talk about the war, just constantly. And obviously, I know that it has to do that because it's part of the plot for, obviously, the storyline and what was happening. I just felt like all the sort of like training scenes and things like that, I don't think they interested me as much as learning about like the romance and stuff. Maybe I'm more into like the romantasy of the fantasy books, because I'm not that sort of interested in like, yeah, the training and even like the trials in the first one. I wasn't as like interested. However, they do keep you reading because you're like, oh, what's going to happen next, you know, and things, so it grips you. I just felt like this one was like the beginning, amazing, the end, oh my god, so good, but this whole middle bit was just like and it honestly took me longer to read this one than it did the first 2. I was reading this one over 2 weeks, whereas the other ones I'd read like both over a week at a time. So yeah, this one definitely took me longer and things, but the ending made up for it. And the thing is, again, I had seen all over TikTok that every person was crying over this book. So I think I put this book on a higher pedestal than I was just expecting a little bit more from it. However, when I got to the end of it, I was like, okay, right, something's gonna happen. And I'd actually predicted something else was going to happen, so I was like surprised. I was like, no. What do you think you are doing? I was like, this is not the character I anticipated. What are you doing? So I had my little dramatics for, but it was okay because peace was finally restored. My tears could be sucked back into my eye sockets and the world was good again. So when I finished this one, I know a lot of people have like a bit of a break, but I thought I would just continue with the series. So I'm currently reading the little novella, the 4th one of the series, and I'm enjoying it. You'll find out in my next reading wrap up, so remember to come back next month. But I am interested to see where the rest of the series is going to go, because after this one I felt like, what else is going to happen now? But we'll see. Obviously we'll see. I feel like the novella is a little bit kind of just a bit of a gap fill. So I'm interested to see what happens in the last book. I'm guessing it's all about Cassian and Nesta. Nesta's brilliant, isn't she? I just love her. I love her. But my god, the main thing of all 3 of these books is that I just want to escape to Velaris. Can we just go, guys? I've seen that there's a place in Switzerland, is it? That looks exactly like Velaris. Everyone that has imagined. So, like, let's just go. Can we all just book, like, you know, a week trip over there and just live in Velaris? Because it sounds amazing. But honestly, I'm so glad that I started the series because I have been loving it. I have been obsessed with it to the point where I even got my nails done. I don't know if you saw. I'll put a little video up here of showing them close up. They're so pretty. The obsession train continues because I also made a Acotar bookmark. That's me. I made a Acotar book vase. So it says A Court of Books and Fairies and then Acotar Lovers Club on the side. I absolutely love it. It looks so cute on top of all of my books. And my boyfriend also made me this on his little laser printer. How adorable is that? It's the Surreal Sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but the surreal. Fun fact, when I was reading the first book and the surreal came up for the first time, I imagined him, I obviously read the description wrong or just too quickly in my head, but I was imagining the surreal to look like Dobby. So I was thinking he looked like this, when actually he looks like this. That's what I mean when I say that I struggled to imagine all the fantasy characters in this book. Because I was like, oh right. It's like more Dementor instead of like cute little Dobby elf from Harry Potter. So yeah, I am already on the merch collecting train. Nails, little surreal, a book vase, a bookmark. I've also bought a Acotar t-shirt, which I can't wait to show you. And I've also got a Valaris print arriving to go up here as well. So yeah. I've well and truly gone into the world of Acotar and loving it. I feel like I'm so nervous to just like even finish the series now. Like I've only got, like I'm halfway through the novella, which is, there's not really that much going on in it. But I'm halfway through the novella and then I've only got one more book, guys. So I'm just like, I don't want it to end. Like I want to slow down now. I want to just take my time over the last one. So I don't know about you guys, but I had a fabulous start to the year. All of these books were 4 stars and tick, 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 loved them all. Hope you all had a fabulous reading month. Let me know down below what books you have loved reading in January, and if there's any books that you are looking forward to starting in February, please let me know down below. I also have a Goodreads account if you guys would like to follow me over there and see all of my book reviews, and it's also linked down below as well. I also have a Bookstagram and a BookTok account as well if you'd like to give me a follow over there. Talk about all things books. I think primarily though I'm going to have all of my videos over here on YouTube so that I can talk about books a bit more in depth. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye guys!